How exactly did Lonely Planet get its name?
Well, back in the early 70s, Lonely Planet founders Tony and Maureen Wheeler were listening to a Joe Cocker song. It's called Space Captain. And it starts off with these lyrics like something like, once while traveling across the sky, this lovely planet caught my eye. And they misheard Lovely Planet and thought it was Lonely Planet, and they loved it, so it stuck.
Nice. And the founder, Tony Wheeler's first book was called Across Asia on the Cheap. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the first few guidebooks and how they evolved over the years?
Sure. Well, Across Asia on the Cheap came about as a result of Tony and Maureen's honeymoon, which was the trip of a lifetime. It was back in 1972, and they traveled overland from London across Europe and across Asia. And it was a challenging time to travel in that destination, just as far as information. There wasn't really any. Travel guidebooks didn't really exist then. So when they came back from their trip and were telling their stories and sharing their experiences, friends encouraged them to document it and to share all of the learnings about how they traveled through the destination. And so they sat down at their dining room table and they wrote and stapled together this little booklet called Across Asia on the Cheap. Excuse me. And within a week of that, they'd sold 1,500 copies, and Lonely Planet was born. And their next trip brought them, I believe it was about 2 years later, brought them to release their second title called Southeast Asia on a Shoestring, which then led to books on Africa, Australia, Nepal, India, and as you mentioned before, now we're the world's #1 guidebook publisher. We cover just about every destination on the planet, and we have different series that cater to all sorts of travelers, so not just the more budget shoestring traveler, but we also have city series for the more well-heeled or traveler who's going to really explore and go deep under the skin of a particular city. We have pocket titles that are best for short breaks, people who are visiting a place just for a few days and kind of want to capture the highlights. And also, as you mentioned, we have ebooks, we have apps, we have web content. So the company has grown exponentially since 1972.
You can learn more at lonelyplanet.com and uscitytraveler.com. Thanks for listening.